shall the press the people's rights maintain, unawed by influence and unbribed by gain. I happen to believe that newspapering is an honorable, even a noble calling. I think that letting people know what's going on in the community is one of the most responsible things that you can do. I have always liked the name Mirror for a newspaper because it lets people see exactly what the situation is without distortion, and I've always felt that as a calling, and I like to promote it that way. My granddaddy left my dad here with either the Tollers or the Johnsoniuses, one of the established families in town. I think it was Claude Toller.
Okay. It wasn't Fisher Neal?
No, Fisher Neal was involved,
was
but I believe he actually stayed with the Tollers. I'm not quite sure about that. Went back to Alabama to get his brood. The other 5 kids and a cat and a dog and all their household belongings on a Model T Ford. And hit the road. I can just imagine what that trip was like. Florence, that was long before the days of interstates, of course, in a Model T Ford in early December. My grandfather actually carried a pistol for self-protection. I mean, it was that vicious. It was just mean, and best I can understand, my granddaddy gave as good as he got. He was a feisty fella, and with so many mouths to feed and such heavy competition to face, it didn't help at all when right around the corner was the Great Depression. The bank that he had his money in closed. Didn't make much difference because he didn't have any money in there anyway. All kinds of tales of people paying for subscriptions and advertising with sweet potatoes and peanuts and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that happened, the PI originally was located on Market Street, next door to where Wallen Hardware was. Okay.
Right.
And one of the first signs of prosperity was that we moved into a building where Greer and Greer Attorneys are located now. Yeah. That building was built for the PI. And my granddad had a private office. Of course, it's about the size of a telephone booth. Had a private office up in the front there where he would write things, and he would write editorials on the typewriter. You know, we had an old printer, Bennett Coleman, who would hear the typewriter going clackety clack clackety clack 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 clack, really firing away. Said, "Well, Mr. Williams is writing an editorial about TVA again." Just today, I was looking through some old stuff and came across an editorial that my grandfather wrote in June of 1944, and he said that 1 year ago today he was agonizing over, he was trying to write an editorial and he couldn't concentrate because he had just gotten news that the Germans had attacked the Americans at their weakest point in Belgium, and the Battle of the Bulge was on, and he knew that his son Jim was there, and he was torn up. And while he was agonizing a minister. He didn't identify who he was. Came in, excuse me, came in and said, "Did I pray?" Anyway, Dad came back after the war and picked up sort of where he had left off. But you know, he was no longer a kid. He was mature man and ambitious, and had ideas of his own. And my grandfather had been had to fight so hard all his life for everything that he ever got. He couldn't turn loose. He was too much of a war horse to turn over control to anybody. And he had fallen out. Who's going to run this paper?
Yeah.
You know. So they reconciled. My granddaddy mellowed in his old age, and he read the handwriting on the wall, and called my dad back to come take over the paper, which he did, and ran it very successfully. Mm-hmm.